Hello. Um, it's been a while for various reasons, actually. Um, First, I'm gonna apologize for not posting more videos on this channel. I had one recorded like a month ago or so, but the thing is, I didn't post it because it was this word again, watercolor, based on the picture I took on vacations, and I mixed up the name of some locations from the place I went to, and I was too embarrassed to fix the audio and correct the mistake, and I ended up deleting everything. So I'm not gonna do the pillars completely straight. So okay, so what are we doing? I started halfway through the thing, but anyway, this is one of those messy videos, isn't it? Basically, I'm drawing the 13th Doctor and O outside of O's house in Spyfall, looking at the stars. And yes, this is kind of sappy, and I don't care. So yeah, so as you can see, before starting the video, I already drew quite a lot of things. Especially the perspective thing. I'm really bad at perspective, so it's kind of a good thing that you didn't see me struggle with it. And it would have made this video very long, because I had to start over like 3 times. It was bad. The thing is, you're supposed to put the horizon line on the eyes of the character, but for some reason it looked incredibly weird when I did so. So I had to start again and put it a bit lower. I really don't know why. Sometimes you you stick to the rules, and the result is weird. So you have to cheat a bit, because otherwise you keep thinking that's not right. And I have no idea why it does that. And I messed up this line. The thing is, with a ton of paint on it, it's not gonna matter anyway, but... And I messed up this line too. Great. So yeah, the first reason was I deleted the video I was supposed to post because I was too embarrassed to fix it. And it kind of sucks too, because I kind of regret that, because it was an unusual video, because I was painting a landscape based on the photo, so it wasn't the usual video. It was kind of cool, but I was too embarrassed, so I deleted it. Welcome back to Johannes Can Speak English, everyone's favorite broadcast. I'm not gonna put a lot of details on the house because it's gonna be mostly in the dark. Admittedly, the entire scene is going to be mostly in the dark, but as you can see, I was in lazy mode. I didn't really draw the characters. So, should we go full suicide mode and draw them without making a full sketch? Yeah, let's do this. Why not? So 13 has this blue how do we say manteau again? Coat. So you have to sort of drape it like this. And she's got these trousers that are too short. So I'm gonna stop them here. And the shoe is there. Let's say her other leg is like that. And her other arm is over it like that. So far so good. I'm gonna sort of draw the head though, because even if it's a very basic drawing, I don't want to look at the head and say, no, what have I done for the rest of the drawing if I mess it up? This will do. I'm gonna use the other thing. I have this habit of keeping nearly broken pens for way too long. I don't know if you can see it, but the tip is ruined. It's flat, and that's the new one. It's nice and pointy, and I use the new one for details and the old one for stuff that don't really need fine work. So that way I can continue to use the ink in the ruined one and not damage the new one too quickly. So yeah, 13 and O. At this point I'm gonna assume you've seen oh, I forgot this pillar here. I'm gonna assume all of you have seen the previous Doctor Who series, otherwise this is going to be a very annoying video because I'm gonna spoil things probably. So this is your last chance to watch something else, to go watch something else, because I'm going to talk about things that happened in the previous series. See, I missed. I was thinking something wasn't right there, but the perspective is wrong. So, so you're still here. Yeah, I don't know why, but I'm extremely. I get extremely emotional about the master pretending to be the Doctor's friend for years. It's like he woke up one day and was like, okay, I need a secret identity, and the doctor always ends up identifying me and ruining my plans. And for this one, I have to go undercover for ages without being suspected. So, time to get really, really clever about it. What could be perfect disguise? And he was like, I know, I'm gonna be a decent guy for once. I'm gonna be a super nice human, just wanting to help. With stars in his eyes. Who's a little bit in love with aliens. They'll never know it's me. And it worked. It worked very well. It worked way too well. And it makes me really sad because that's the same thing he unknowingly pulled off in Utopia in Series 3. But that was because he was fob-watched. So it's not like he decided to be like that. It's just how it turned out to be when he doesn't have his memories. So for him to have his memories and to be fully aware, that's going to be something that's going to work on the doctor. I don't know, it it makes me really emotional. Sorry. Yeah, no, the window isn't there. I have the thing opened. There's one window about perspective again. And on some level, you can't tell me he wasn't also doing this for himself, because he seemed to really enjoy pretending to be that guy. But not enjoy in a ha ha ha, this is my evil scheme way, but like, that feels like some nice vacations from what I am usually. And of course he couldn't resist making some jokes only he could understand, but still he was very, very into this role. And I've seen a lot of theories about this is highly specific, but which incarnation of the Doctor was the one who started talking to him, because we didn't know, we didn't see. And a lot of people, including myself actually, are convinced it started with 11. Why 11 specifically? Because this master somehow looks like a good foil for 11. Not just how he's dressing, because it's also kind of a mirror of how 13 dresses in a way. But he's also got this whole teacher vibe going on that 11 sort of had. Dorky teacher. So, here's O. And yeah, if you haven't seen, a year ago or so, or maybe exactly a year ago, when was it? A bit more than a year ago, a year and a week, exactly, ago. I drew a little comic in 3 pages titled We Text. And it's my headcanon about the text messages they were sending to each other over the years. And yeah, I made it start with 11. And I wrote it as a mix of sweet things and manipulative things, because he's always supportive and nice, but he mostly sends texts right after the doctor lost a companion or something bad happened. And yeah, he's kind of doing it on half doing it sincerely, half on purpose to manipulate. Oh, and we found another one. We found another word I can't say. Manipulate doctor when they're vulnerable, and offering support right at the right time to build trust. I don't know what I'm doing with his feet. I'm just rolling with it. Okay, so there's this deck of sorts. To be honest, I'm not sure what the point of this deck is, but it's there in the episode, so yeah, the thing is there, so it goes like this. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna vaguely make some tree shapes, but they are going to be completely dark, so so yeah, and I so in that thing in 3 pages, and he always calls when the doctor is at their most vulnerable, and they build friendship like this. And I drew the doctor finally meeting O after years and years of texting and friendship, long distance friendship, but still friendship. And there's a panel where they're talking outside. Well, the doctor is talking and O is listening. And she's talking about distant stars and stuff and travels. I didn't write what she's saying, but we can see what she's talking about. I drew the things. And he's very interested. And I don't know, I'm just emotional about them, thinking about them, talking about distant stars and travels, and her not knowing that's her childhood friend in disguise. And in another timeline, if if circumstances had been different, maybe they would be sitting there and she would know it's him and they would be talking in the same way in a different reality where he didn't become what he became. And that makes me extremely emotional. I posted the thing and said, welcome to join me in feelings hell. And yeah, basically feelings hell is what it feels like. So yeah, I'm gonna transfer the video and then I'll be back. Welcome back. I'm gonna add the shadows. This is going to be somewhat quick. Since last time I had to change my black watercolor, and I didn't have one in my box of my emergency supply of art supplies. So I had to buy a new one online, and before it arrived, obviously I still wanted to paint stuff, and I basically my method, my technique, as you know, needs either neutral tint or black or ivory black preferential watercolor to work, and so I couldn't paint anything for a few days. So at some point I took a dive in my boxes of old supplies that are unused, like kept for later, and miraculously I found an old watercolor box with really messed up paints, and for some reason there was a black one that was still untouched in it, because at the time I never used black watercolor. My, how the turntables have turned, huh? So yeah, this is what I'm using, and I've been using it for the past month or so. As you can see, it has this weird bluish tint to it. I'm not even sure what kind of black it is, but I really like the fact that it's kind of blue. If I can't find it again, I'm gonna start using it. Long story short, whoops be praised, because I found a better way to do things by accident. But again, every technique I start using starts as an accident, so... The other reason, at the beginning of the video, again, this is one of those very messy videos. It's like a stream of consciousness thing. At the beginning of the video, I said I was going to explain why I haven't posted a lot on this channel recently. Oh, the watercolor is doing something really weird. I'm gonna fix it later, but and I stopped halfway through. The first explanation was that I messed up the video I wanted to post. Second explanation is, as you might know, I write things for the French branch of the SCP Foundation website. For those who don't know what it is, I feel a bit silly because it's starting to be a pretty famous thing. It's It's been going on for more than 10 years at this point. It's a collaborative writing project where the lore is basically, the background is there's this secret foundation thing trying to keep anomalies away from the world, hidden. Think X-Files but with more budget, or Men in Black but with everything, not just aliens, like everything, magic, ghosts, you name it. It's a weird thing. It's the foundation deals with it. Legends, anything out of the ordinary. So and the French branch made a contest for its 9th anniversary. I'm still not sure how it works in English. 9th anniversary, I'm pretty sure. And it was a writing contest, obviously. And every year we try to come up with a new idea for a contest. And this year it was there's 2 lists. Pick a theme in list 1. The theme could be anything related to the foundation, mostly groups of interests, people of interests, etc. And the second list was very, very difficult to make. We spent ages on it. Was a list of aesthetics, like I don't know, steampunk, sci-fi, horror, cottagecore, kidcore, Venice and dell'arte. Anything. There were like 40 different aesthetics in it, and you had to pick one in each list randomly, and you had to write on the theme, but with the aesthetic. And sometimes it was really, really conflicting, so that was very funny. Like one guy picked something really eldritch and Lovecraftian, and the aesthetic was dad on vacation. Stuff like that. And what I picked was Nobody, which is a group / person of interest, and the aesthetic was decadentism, end of 19th century decadentism. And something happened to me with this combo and turned me into a monster, and I wrote the longest thing I ever wrote in my fucking life for this contest. I was extremely proud of it. It was the first time I was really happy about something I wrote myself, instead of rereading it and cringing every line. And because I was so happy with it, I developed this weird self-special interest about something I created that never happened to me before. It was extremely strange. And I was obsessed about my own writing thing. And I spent basically a month and a half only thinking and drawing stuff about these characters. And that's also why I didn't make videos, because I thought it would be obnoxious. And nobody would care. I am by definition, I'm the only person really caring about these characters because I invented them. So what would be the point? And it's in French too, so a lot of people can't even read it. I Several people asked me to translate it because I was talking about it, and I'm not even sure I can. I will try, but it's so long. It's it's like 10 times the length of what I usually write. I think it's I think it's eight, 18,000 words. I think it's very long. I mean, it doesn't sound that long if you write stuff yourself, I think. But I'm not a writer, okay? I try. I've been trying for years, but it's not something that comes from me for me naturally. My thing is art, and my thing is not writing. So that was a lot of words. So yeah, that basically ate my life up for the past month or so. Which is why I haven't made videos here. I'm gonna let this dry and I'll be back. Welcome back. I only vaguely remember what I was talking about, but oh yeah, I was rambling about this SCP thing I wrote, which has nothing to do with what I'm currently drawing, because I'm the worst. But yeah, anyway, I said basically what I basically already said what I wanted to say about. Oh. And the thing is, it's not fair, you know. The episode is really good, but it also works a little bit too well, because it's really hard to not like O as a character. So when the plot twist happens, we feel betrayed, like just as much as the Doctor must feel betrayed, I think. Like, but we liked him. So it's very effective in a way. The thing with Spyfall is it's a mess. This two-parter is a big mess. I think the first part is really good. It's one of the best episode we've had in recent years. It's not even the best of the series of the latest series, but it's very good. And I was very disappointed because part 2 was. I'm not saying it was bad. But I'm gonna say I really didn't vibe at all with some choices that were made in that part. Like, if you're going to bring historical figures in your story, it's fine, do it, but if one of them is a spy who died horribly in World War II, before the end of the war, and who was tortured and brutalized and all kinds of terrible things, and in your story you have the audacity to have a character, to have the doctor, of all people, telling her that things are going to be fine and the war isn't going to last and things are going to get better, knowing full well she's going to die horribly a few months later. That's... it's bad. It's really bad. It's not even the worst thing in the episode, but oof, bad choices. Bad choices. Maybe acknowledge that you can have this speech, but maybe vaguely acknowledge the fact that she's not going to be alive to see what you're talking about. Maybe, I don't know. Oh, this video is turning very sour very fast. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not here to rant. I'm just here to draw, but God, Spyfall Part 2. And there's the thing with Ada Lovelace where she says she wants to keep her memories and 13 erases them anyway. Right after, like, two series ago, we had this discussion with Bill. This exact same discussion. And 12 thought about it and thought what this sounded like, to erase people's memory without their consent. And he was like, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe when I did that when I was 10, maybe it was bad. Maybe it was a terrible thing. Let's think about it for a few seconds. And I'm not saying 13 should have let Ada keep her memories. I'm not saying that. I'm saying she should have stopped for a few seconds and maybe think about what she was doing before straight up erasing them. And I know every doctor is different. That's not the problem. I know 13 isn't 12. I know they don't have the same emotional sensibility. I know all of that, but and it doesn't undo the thing with 12 at all. It's just I know sometimes in Doctor Who we are going to be back to square one. It happens. I mean, we have 7 realizing at the end of his run that maybe being manipulative is bad. Maybe he can't anticipate everything, and he dies stupidly because he didn't check the scanner, of all things, before stepping outside. What a sad death for a master manipulator. Anyway, and he spent his entire next incarnation trying not to be that person. And lo and behold, 2 regenerations later, we get 11, who's back to being a master manipulator. Not as obvious as 7, but still, it's a step backward. So it happens. I mean it. That's the point of the series. We get to explore similar concepts in different ways over the years. That's okay. That's a good thing. But even if it's a good thing, it has to be written decently. Well, I mean, again, she should have stopped for a few seconds to think about it and maybe conclude, this time I don't care. This time I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm not saying it's badly written. I'm saying I would have done it differently. Which doesn't mean much because I'm a bad writer, but but this is my video. I talk about what I want. ultimate ultimate argument. And obviously, the most infuriating thing for me was I was going to say something in the World War II segment of Spyfall Part 2, but if I'm being honest, everything in the World War II segment is infuriating to me. Everything. There isn't a single thing I wouldn't change in this part. Okay, I'd keep the telepathy thing. I'd keep the telepathy link. But yeah. Yeah, no, as you might expect, the most infuriating thing for me was the master as the German officer. I think even the actor was very uncomfortable with it because on Twitter he posted a few months afterwards he posted a selfie of himself wearing it and he said that was a very surreal moment and I was like, yep, glad to know you weren't comfortable with it either, because we weren't. Most of us weren't anyway. Okay, I am going to put a little bit of watercolor in the sky. As usual, what I'm doing right now is what I call the basic colors. It's everything that isn't, how do I put it, mood lighting. I don't know. The colors things would have without the light I'm going to put on it, basically. That's why I call it basic colors. If we were doing 3D stuff, that would be the color of the object with no specific light on it, the color of the model. I'm going to go crazy with this sky, so I'm anticipating with watercolor. Gonna put this here as well. Shadows. And we're gonna be done for this part, and I'm gonna let this dry again. Put a little too much water here, it's going to take ages to dry. So yep. Yeah, see you later. Okay. Welcome to the part that is fun. Weirdly enough, I'm gonna start with brown. And yeah, I'm adding it in a whatever manner, because this is going to be a quick part. Alright. I have cobalt blue here, and I'm going to take a lot of it and add it over the house. And this is why I wasn't very careful about the lines, because we are currently burying them under the ink, so cobalt blue, or as I usually say, the sad blue. Some people have color theory, some people have logic and good words. Johannes has, this blue is sad, this blue isn't sad. And that's okay. As long as it makes sense to you, it works. I'm sure there's an actual reason that makes this sad blue in my mind, but I think it could be explainable if you consider that there's a bit more red in it, so maybe, I don't know. But again, I don't know. More red should mean warmer. I don't know. It's sad. It's the sad one. It's not the oh look, space, I wanna go to space blue. Which means it's a good way to put it first, to make things darker before using another blue for the rest. I'm gonna put it on the horizon too. I'm not gonna put too much of it around the characters because I don't want to bury them entirely under the ink. I mean, I guess I'm gonna put a bit of it, but I don't want them to disappear completely. I guess I can put this on the plants too. Okay. And usually I'd stop there and let this dry first, but this part doesn't have ink yet, and to save some time I'm gonna put a bit of it already before moving on to the next part. So I want purple. To the edge of the, and I want pink, but mixed with purple because I have a history with pink. Okay. And we're gonna let them do whatever they want, basically. We're just gonna put water here and there and leave them at with their own devices, and come back later and see what they did. Because I'm lazy. Because I don't like to decide exactly how the sky looks. I like to let it do its own thing. And this only took 5 minutes. This is nice. So I'm gonna let this dry and I'll be back again. This wouldn't be one of my videos without a shit ton of China blue. So let's go. Let's do this. I really don't know why I love this color so much. Blue isn't even my favorite color, that's the crazy part. But I love painting blue things. I'm not even sure I have a favorite color. I have favorite associations of colors, color pairings if you like. But I'm not sure I have one singular favorite color. I mean, I love blue, but who doesn't love blue? Actually, I know the answer to that question. Years ago, back when I was still back before my depression, this video isn't going to be another rant about depression, how it changes your life. But yeah, that's definitely a before and after for me. So yeah, back before then, I used to paint a lot more. And when I say paint, I'm not saying. Bizarrely enough, when I think paint, I don't think watercolor. Paint and watercolor are different mediums in my mind. I don't know why, but when I say I used to paint, I mean acrylic paints, like what I would say, what I would call hard paints. Watercolor is it's not that it's friendlier, but it's very light medium. And yeah, I used to paint to do paintings and stuff, and from time to time I would do art exhibits, but very small ones and free ones. I wasn't paid or anything. I was insured. They were offering insurance to us, which was really cool. So basically, I wasn't making any money out of it unless someone wanted to steal one of them, which means I would get insurance money, but it never happened, obviously, because my paintings aren't worth it. So yeah, that was weird. Well, and during one of these things, where I had something like 10 pictures on the wall, and I was there in case someone had questions, and I was at the exhibit was a series of painting, a short series of 3 paintings called Tesseractic Triptych, and it's almost entirely blue. And this lady dressed entirely in red. I wish this was a joke. She was entirely dressed in red, including her shoes. Walked towards me, looking really pissed off. And I was like, oh no, what's going on? And she was like, are you the artist? And I was like, yeah. Well, yeah, what can I do for you? And she was like, this is too blue, and I hate blue. And I'm pretty sure I told this story before, either in another video or somewhere else, but it was hysterical. Especially because she was dressed all in red. That's that made it even better. So yeah. So yeah, I know exactly who doesn't like blue. What I'm doing right now is putting water on top of the paint in the hopes it's going to create an effect. I'm not sure it's gonna do it. Here looks good. I think it's gonna do something here. Here I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm not sure what it's doing right there. I'm gonna add some more here too. And that looks okay. See you later when it's dry. showing how wet the paper is. Okay, so three things actually. If you hear noise, some noise in the background, it's because I'm no longer alone at home. So I'm sorry in advance for that. That was the first thing. The second thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of yellow in the sky. It's not a primary yellow, it's citrus yellow. It's very weak yellow. Usually it doesn't even appear all that well if you scan it. The scanner tends to eat this color, but I just think it makes some sort of nice greenish hue here and there in the sky, which is weird because the sky isn't really green or anything. I just think it looks nice. I mean, it's not pink either, but that's not going to stop me. Alright, and now the thing we're going to do is adding some lights with this watercolor pencil. And I'm going to start with 13 because why not? I think what I was saying before was I've started to paint again. I started to make painting, and it's a self-portrait, because the only self-portrait I ever made, as I mentioned in a previous video, took me years to complete, and I'm not talking like 1 or 2 years, like I'm talking 7 years, because I didn't like looking at my face. So I was like, okay, as soon as I have enough energy to paint again, I'm going to do a new self-portrait, because the old one, I don't really vibe with the old one anymore. That's not really who I am anymore. And I wanted to do, since the big problem I had with the previous one was, I'm gonna absorb a bit of water, was actually painting the eyes was my biggest problem. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the new one without eyes, because screw them. And yeah, so basically I'm halfway through, and the good news is I can still paint. I even after years without touching an easel, I can still paint. I've still got it. It came back very quickly too. That's kind of comforting. That was the good news. The bad news is I'm halfway through the process, but you can already see where it's going, sort of. And let's make things clear. This is what I want to paint. This is I haven't really made a plan or anything, but the sketch was in this direction already. This is not, it doesn't look like this because I failed to capture what I wanted to capture. On the contrary, I really like where this is going because it's really fitting with what I wanted to paint. But yeah, the bad news is, thanks, it's terrifying. So yeah, I'm not even sure when I'm gonna finish it. Maybe I'm gonna work on it a bit today. I'm not entirely sure. It's Eurovision Day, so it starts this evening. The semi-finals are this evening. By the time I post this, they're probably going to be over. I don't know. But yeah. So I'm probably going to draw a lot of dumb Eurovision things instead of painting this evening. So yeah, because I'm using this lighter color to add details, this is why I allow myself to paint stuff that dark, because it won't stay that dark afterwards. Adding detail on the ground. And again, I mostly add details on the patches where there's already some sort of texture. Window. Thing is, you don't have to add that many detail to bring back what was lost to the dark paint. You only have to add a little bit of it to bring back the details. As long as you leave dark parts, they reappear very easily. Like, I don't have to color the entire thing for it to reappear. You already sort of see it because a bit of it has been colored lighter than the background. I'm gonna add a bit more for the wall. Okay. A bit more. Maybe a bit of texture too. Okay. This. I think we're good for the house. Maybe a bit more here too. Yeah. Okay. Planks. Drawing them rather messily. Okay, plant here. There's one song I cannot listen to casually anymore without thinking of something like this. And it's on Coldplay's album Ghost Stories. And it's the very last song. And there's lyrics like fly on right through. Maybe one day I'll fly next to you. Talking about birds hovering above people in the sky. Maybe one day I'll fly next to you. And it's very... Recently we talked about that album with a friend, and the word I used to describe the general vibe of Ghost Stories was it's beautiful but devastating. And yeah, I like Coldplay. What are you going to do about it? I genuinely think they're a very good band, and I don't get people who are calling them bland. Their music is full of colors and very, very beautiful shapes, and I really don't get people who... I mean, you like whatever you want to, but there's this weird apathy regarding them. I don't know why. I think they're one of the most interesting bands we have in the mainstream. Anyway, yeah, Ghost Stories, very good. And you might, at this point, if you haven't listened to this song, you might be wondering, what does this have to do with anything related to this drawing? And the reason I can't listen to it casually ever since Spyfall happened, and I started to have capital E emotions about these two, is the song is just simply called Oh. So yeah. That's the reason. So I listen to it and I keep thinking about these two telling stories to each other, and in front of the house and looking at the sky, maybe seeing a couple of birds. And maybe he's wondering why he's doing all this, and maybe he's briefly considering, hang on, why am I like this way? Why can't we just be friends? What went wrong in my life? I'm gonna add a couple more details. I'm not gonna add too much Posca on the plants because I don't want to distract too much from the characters or the sky. But I have this tendency to add little dots at the end of plant stems to suggest there's something like, maybe not a flower, but something on top of them. I think it's simpler than just drawing the thing itself. Okay. I don't want to put too much light on them, but I'm gonna have to if I want them to be seen against the background. Not sure how long this video is going to be, but I don't think it's gonna be that long. Maybe because I did the drawing off screen, but at the same time it's not a very complex picture. I did some pretty complex things recently, so I spent a few days working on a portrait of my idiots from the SCP thing I wrote, and yeah, it was a lot of work, and I'm really glad I did it because I really like the result. I drew them a lot. So yeah, they are again. That's something that really annoys me. That character right there in the middle, the Korbiak. I I can only draw him like some sort of 8 like character, and it annoys me because I'm like, come on, you're better than this. You can draw a guy wearing this kind of clothes, and in this time, in this time period, with curled hair, and not making him look like 8. Come on. And no, the answer is I can't. It's terrible. I'm gonna add stars. Let's pretend there's a big one there, because there's already a dot here. Of course you can see skies like this from Earth, but I mean, they're Time Lords. We can always pretend that's what they see when they look at the sky. Can you imagine being able to see space like this? I mean, I grew up in the city. I'm used to completely black skies with just maybe the moon and a couple of stars if they are really bright. So every time I'm in the countryside and I have an opportunity to look at a really, really clear sky, away from light pollution and everything, just seeing the Milky Way is oof. Like, you see that and you're like, oh yeah, we are living in this. Some people can see this every night also. Most people, I'd say. Or maybe not. I'm not sure. I think most people live in the city nowadays. I should check that. Anyway, a lot of people, at any rate, can see this. So yeah, here's 2 idiots who keep fighting each other through time and space. Just looking at stars because I'm a sentimental idiot. I want to add a shooting one. Shooting star. Let's say it's this one. Nice. Another one. Okay. I think we're good. I'm gonna do the second line art and scan, and I'm gonna call this a day. So yeah. Yeah, I think we're done. Have a nice day.